Hello and hello. I am back, yes, with another exciting video, tutorial, whatever you want to call it. We have a lot of things going on. So we have a front end, we have a back end, and we also have the Google Cloud API in the play. And we will be also doing some math. So don't worry, I'll explain everything. And you know what? Let me just show you the demo. So what it is. So here I have the app. I'll just click on the upload button. So material, this is all material UI being used, by the way. So I have a floating action button, and I'll come here and select a receipt, an image, say open. It's gonna do processing, and there we go. So let me show you what the receipt looks like. And this is the, let me bring it up. There you go. So that's the receipt, and as you can see, the amount is 1,203 and 39 change, and then the date is Monday, June 10, 2019, which is right here. So now let's try another one. So you're gonna see this gonna get updated, and then we're gonna add another one. So I'm gonna click, so it's gonna be a pharmacy one, process it, and here we go. So let me show you that one. If I come here and let's minimize this, as you can see, I have the $3.42 in change, and November 5th 2013 is the date, so that's coming up nicely. And then let's do one more. This for a restaurant, so it's gonna process, and there we are. So let me show you the paper receipt. Here is the paper receipt. As you can see, the total is $29.01, and it's on April the 7th 2017 right here, and that's on a Friday. So I hope I have you guys excited, guys and gals. And as you can see at the top, the total is also getting updated, so as you add more and more receipts. So you're going to learn a lot of stuff in this tutorial. You're going to learn React, you're going to learn how to use it material UI, we're going to learn how to do Node, and we're going to set up our own API. We're going to set up Google Cloud Vision. You're going to see how that is done, and then we're going to see how we can test our API and make sure it works before we connect it back in the front end. So I am very excited. This took a while to set up, and there's also some math involved, but don't worry, I'll explain everything. So sometimes it's not always just coding, sometimes you just have to have your own stuff involved too. So you know what, I'm very pumped. I'm very excited, and let's just dive right in. Alright, so let's start with setting up the Google Cloud Console stuff, and then from there we'll move on. So I am here in my browser, and then you will say cloud.google.com. Alright, so if you're not signed in, just sign in and then click on console. Alright, then we're gonna go over here, and I will say new project, and then we will say expense tracker. Alright, so if you are part of an organization, I'll use that, otherwise just click create. Alright, so it's gonna do its thing. Cool. So now that is done, then we're gonna click select project, and the next thing you want to do is you want to enable the Cloud Vision API. So you want to come over here, and then we're gonna go over to view all products, and then you will see APIs and services. So I'll click on that, and then there's a thing enable API and services, so I'll click on that, and then let's go over here to Vision API. Alright, so Cloud Vision API, we're gonna come here, and then you want to hit enable. Nice. Alright, so once that is done, then what we want to do is we want to create a service account, because that has to be associated with it. So I'll come over here, then we're gonna go to IAM and just click on it, and then here you will see service account, so I'm gonna click on that, and then here I'll create service account. Alright, so let's give it a name. I will just call it expense tracker, and then if you want to create a description, I'll say create and continue. Now select a role. Let's select a role. We'll just say owner, and then continue, and then we'll just click done. Alright, and then you want to click this email address. Alright, so then what you want to do is come over here to keys, and then we will say add key, create new key, and we'll say JSON create. Nice. Alright, so it downloaded this file. Let's open it up. Alright, so here's the file. So this is the file that we will set up shortly, and then that's how we're going to access the Google Cloud Vision API and all. So let's see how we can do that. Alright, so here I am. I created a new folder within my node folder, and then what you want to do is also npm init, and then we'll just say yes to all the defaults. Oh, I should have done app.js, but what the heck. Alrighty, yes, this is okay. Alright, so if we look inside here, that's what we have. So I'll open this in VS Code. Alrighty then. Whoa. Alright, so I will come here and I'll change this to app.js, just a personal thing. Then I'll come here and I'll say app.js, and then we'll just open this up. So there's a couple of things I will install. I will install npm install express. Alright, so with that done, I'm gonna save this. Whoops, just why is it even doing that? Override. Alright, so this is this. Now, so what you want to do is you want to now point that file that we downloaded, that JSON file from Google, and you want to set it up as an environment variable. Now, here's the thing. If I set it up here, then it is going to be used only within this environment. If I set it up as a global thing, then of course everybody will have access. So depending on your needs, if you're going to be doing different projects, then maybe, and you have different JSON files, so you want to do maybe per project. So that's what I will do. I'll just do it right here. So I will do set Google, and we'll say underscore application credentials, and then here I'll specify the name, I guess the path to where the file is. So that will be C. I think I need to copy because I don't remember. So it's in downloads, so I'll copy that, and then we'll just do like this, and then I will say, I think I should rename it too, because Google gives us some weird name, but I'll just make it simple. I'll say ETYT, expense tracker YT. And I'll say etyt.json. Okay, so that works. So now if I do echo, I think if I can do Google application credentials, there you go. So that works. So the environment variable is set, and we are good to go. Alright, so what I will also do is install the Cloud Vision API, and we will do npm install, and we'll say add Google Cloud Vision. So let's do that. Alright, and then I will also install nodemon, because I want to see the changes as I update my code. And finally, let's install multer. So for those who don't know, multer can be used to deal with files. So when we upload the receipt image, then multer is going to make it very easy for us to grab that file. I'll show you how it's done, so let's install it. Alright, so let's start writing the server. So I'll come over here, and I had to actually install Express, by the way. I think when I saved that file it messed up, so I just went ahead and did a npm install Express. So I did that. Alright, so I'll come over here and I'll say const express is equal to require express. So that's that. And then the other thing I need is to get a hold of the multer. So I'll say require multer, and that if you want to get access to the file, the blob that multer stores, so we need something called a storage. So I'll say storage is equal to multer dot, and then there's something called memory storage, and then what you want to do is basically get a hold of that. Alright, with that done, then the other thing I will need also is, this is from node, so I need the fs module, require fs. Okay, so let's fire up the server. So I'll say console.log server is up and running. Okay, and then I want to do app.listen. Well, but what is app? We don't know, so we need to create it. So we will do const app is equal to express, and then I can come here and I can say app.listen. So we'll just listen on the port 3000. Save it, and let me bring the console side by side. Alright, so as you can see, my server is running, and now what we will do is, so let's set up an endpoint so that we can shoot a request and see if our endpoint is working. So I'll do app.get, and let's set up the root, and we'll say request response, and what I want to return is a response.send. We'll say it works. Alrighty, I'll save it, and let's set up Postman, and then we will do localhost 3000, and let's see a get request, and we are getting an error but cannot get. Alright, so let's see why. Whoop, I need to come here and maybe restart this. Alright, so there you go. So now we're running again. I'll come here and I'll say send. There you go. So that works. So sometimes you just need to restart your server. Okay, so now the other thing is I'll create another endpoint, and that is where we are going to submit our file. So I'll say app dot, and I'll say post, and it will be a receipt endpoint. And let's just make sure it works first, and then we can go ahead and worry about the rest of the stuff. So I'll say res.send upload it, whatever. Alright, so let's do a post. So I'll go here, I'll say post, and then I'll say receipt. I'll say send. Cannot do post, why? RECEIPT response.send. Do I need to restart my server again every time? Because that's inconvenient. Let's see. If I send. Okay. So what's going on? Oh, the spelling. Yes. Yes, you need to spell it. So let's try again. Perfect. So that works. Alright, so now we need to try to send it a file and then see if we can store the file on the server. And then as you can see, I have a folder called uploads, and this is where we are going to be uploading our files. But before we do that, we need to set up multer. So I can come here and let me just do this, and I can say const multer is equal to, uploads upload is equal to multer, and then you want to specify a destination, so which is uploads, right? And then the storage will be storage, like that. Okay, with that done, then in my request, right, so I'll bring this over here. What I can do is I can say upload dot single. So since we are uploading single files, so that's why we will do that. And then this name, it will be the name of the item that when you send in your post request in the form data. So that's what I'm calling it. So I have a receipt, and that's why I'm saying receipt. Now once you have that, then you want to store this somewhere. So what we can do is we can use a try catch so that we can catch any errors. So I'll say error, and let's take this one, move it inside the try, and then here I can say res dot. You could specify an error or whatever, but I'll just do error dot message. Right, so like that. Okay, so what you want to do here is we can wait, doing a wait, and we can say fs dot promises dot, and then we'll say write file. Okay, and then where's the file? Well, we say uploads, and then it will be receipt dot jpeg. Okay, and then where's the buffer gonna come from? Well, the buffer is inside the request dot file dot buffer. So this is where the multer is helpful, because we can just access to it from the buffer. Alright, so now we have an await, so that means we need to do async here. Alright, so if everything worked well, then if I upload a file, I should be able to see a file appear here. So I come here and then select body, form data, and then I do receipt, type is file, and then let's see. Okay, so it looks like, oh, there you go. So you see the file appear here, and this was the file that it's a receipt I downloaded from the internet. So that's the one I submitted, and this is the one we are going to be submitting to the Google Cloud Vision API. Perfect. So we have, looks like the base is all set, and now let's work on setting up the Google Vision API processing. Alright, so what I want to do is I'll put the processing in a separate file, separate module, so that we keep things nice and separate. So I'll come over here and I'll say process receipt.js, and then in here I can do something like app. I can create a function. I'll say function process. So what this will take is a path to the file that the user uploaded, and then it is going to do whatever it has to do. So then we need to do module.exports, and we want to export this process like that. And for starters, let's just return, we'll say process or something like that. Alright, so then I can save this, and then I'll come over here, and then let's import that. So I'll say const process to require. Alright, and then we'll say process receipt. Actually, I can do it like that, process receipt, like that. And so now what we want to do is I will come here and I'll say const, I'll say data is equal to process, and it takes that path. So for now I'll just give it empty string because we're not using it. I just want to make sure that I can call my function and it's returning something. So if I do send again, then process, so perfect. So we are hitting our endpoint, and then at this point I can do something like const path to file is equal to, let's take this, and then I can do path to file, and I can do path to file, like that. Alright, so let me just make sure we get the same response. Yep, no errors, that's good. Alright, so I'll come over here and we can get to work. So what we want to do is we want to get a hold of the Cloud Vision API first. So what I can, actually I'll just come to the top and I'll say const, and we will say vision is equal to require, and what is it? Is it Google Cloud Vision blah blah blah. Okay, so you get that. Alright, and then inside here I can come here and I can say const client is equal to new vision dot, and then you want to do the image annotation client, like that, because we want to basically an image, we want to annotate that. And then finally we will come here const, and this is an array, and you want to do client dot, and then you can do document text detection, and then where's the document? Well, that's the path to file, like that. Alright, so now this returns a promise, so you need to await, and then you guessed it, we need to do async here. Alright, so then what happens? Well, after that we are gonna say, you know, detections is equal to result dot full text annotation. That's what you want to do. Alright, so now let's return this and see what the heck this returns to us. So if everything worked well, we should be able to see something. Alright, so I'll come here, exciting times, I'll say that. Alright, so we're still getting process. Let's see. So we're calling our function process. The problem is here, so you call process, and then this is an async function, so it's just gonna do its thing and then whatever it has to do, but our function will just send the data back. It's not going to wait for it. So the first thing we need to do is we need this thing to return a promise to us. But before we do that, let's just console log detections to see what happens. So let's bring this here on the side, and then we'll say send. Alright, so we got an empty object. Oh, there you go. So see, that's what I was talking about. The response came first, and then we got our data. So anyway, so let's look at the what Google returned to us. So I'm going to open that receipt. Bring this here, and then we can come here and open it. And I think it does an amazing job. So as you can see, we are getting our the first line and then everything. So that's all nice and dandy, but the problem is that you can see it just returned this one massive text string and everything is pretty much in it. So but what if you wanted to extract what we're trying to do is extract the, let's say, total, and maybe I want to extract the date. So you want to keep track of the date and then the total and maybe even the address, something like that. So how do we do that? So we'll get to that in a bit, and we will be using some mathematics for it. So, but as you can see, it returns you a lot of stuff in the blocks and then properties. So you can see that there's like you have blocks. So let me go back. So you have pages. Then within pages you have blocks. Then within blocks, if you go inside, it's an array, and within that you have actually paragraphs. Then within that paragraphs, it actually has got words, so individual words. And then what you also get is you get the bounding rectangles for each word that it found, and this is what we're going to be using to detect actually line by line. So we'll be using slope function. If you don't know, I'll show it to you, but it'll be basically a line equation that we'll be using to help us achieving that. Alright, so I'm going to go back and let's fix this issue first where it's returning basically right away, and I want it to return to us when it's done processing. Alright, so how do we do that? Well, we can do a promise thingy. So what I'll come here and I'll do, so instead of returning detection like that, what I can do is I can say return new promise, okay, and then I want to do success and I want to do failure. And that's a pretty standard pattern that you will see. Alright, so for now what I can do is I will do, because we want to wait for this to finish, so once this is finished then we can return our stuff. So I can do success and let's do detections like that, and then let me just get rid of that. I don't need this. Alright, so I'm going to save it, and now we can come here and I can say wait. So you wait for this, and now I can come here and I can say send, and there you go. So as you can see, now we're getting the proper response, and now let's dissect this. So as I was saying, there's pages, then there's blocks, then there's paragraphs, then there's words, then within that there's symbols. So let's take an example of, So for example, let's come here and look at this M. As you can see, the text M, and you have the confidence level 2. You can check that at how good the result is. But then the interesting thing is these vertices. So as you can see, that items that are on the same line, right, they're going to have pretty much the exact same X value, right, because they are in one line. Sorry, the same Y value, because they're on the same height from the top or whatever it is. So as you can see, this is 291, this is 292, and we can just take the first one. That should be good enough. So let's take A for example after M. So I have M, then if I go to A, and then if I look at the Y, see 292, and if I look at M, this 292, 291. So it's I mean, just not that much off. So of course you're going to have some threshold. And then let's pick another one. So let's look at, for example, the S from street. So let's find it. Where is it? S. So there's S. As you can see, again, the Y value is pretty much in the same kind of ballpark. It's 296, 291. So it's going to be around that that value. And that's because the receipt is kind of tilted. So one way you could fix this is by correcting the image and just making it straight, but it'll work for us. So that's out of the way, and I got that all. And now we need to go ahead and work on basically going through this and extracting everything and putting them in the proper maps and all. So that'll be a fun thing to do. So let's do that next. Alright, so now let's go through and start processing this so we can make some sense out of it. So we are going to create a map of every word and then its coordinates. So for that, I'll come over here and I'll say const word map, and this be an array. Alright, and then what I can do is I can come here and then we'll say detections dot pages. Alright, so that's these pages right here. We're going to go through that and we'll say for each, and then we'll say for each page. Alright, so then we'll come here and say for pages. Okay, and then through that we're going to go to the blocks. Then we'll say p dot blocks, say for each, and we'll say block. Alright, so I'll say block. Alright, and then what do we do? Well, for block, then we have paragraphs. Right, so right here, this one. So I'll go paragraphs dot for each, and then we'll say paragraph PG. We'll say paragraph like so. Alright, and then what happens? Well, then there's words in it. So I'll say PG dot words dot for each. It's a lot of drilling down, and then for word, and finally this is where actually you get to the meat of it. Alright, so what do you do from here? Well, then we say const text is equal to word.symbols.map. Basically you're just going through all the symbols right here, and then you basically just say s.text. Text is the property right here, and then what you want to do is you say join. So you're basically joining them. It's an array, so if you do join, you just get this one text. And then the other thing is we get is bounding rectangle, so we'll say rect equals dot symbols and dot at. So I'll just take the first one, don't need to take the rest of it, as you can see. So I guess 4 corners, so that's why they're giving you these 4, but we just need the first one. And then what we can do is we can create a point out of it, right? So how do we create a point? Well, we can just come over here and create a helper or a builder function. We can say point is equal to, it will take an x and a y, and then it will return x x y y like that. So then I can come here and I can say point. Alright, so what do we pass to it? Well, let's say rect dot bounding box dot vertices and dot x. Okay, so that's the x. Let's say rect dot bounding box dot vertices and then 0 dot y. So basically I just passed this x, this y to it. Alright, with that done, and so what do? Well, we just push it into a word map. So we'll say word map.push, and then we'll say word. Okay, so that's the text, and then chords will be the point, like so. Alright, so let's save this. So now let's see if we can return this the word map, and then you will see that how it very nicely organizes the word with its coordinates. So if I come here and I do send, it's gonna do some processing, and that's what I was talking about. So as you can see, this is main, then I got my street, I got my restaurant. So if we look here, so that's what happened. So all the words are pretty much parsed with a nice coordinates. And then if I come here, let's say we are interested in the total, so I can find my total. Right here, so that's my total, and as you can see, these are the coordinates, 908 and 2000. And then if we find the total price, which is $29 and a cent, so let's see what that gives us. There you go, $29 here. So as you can see, it's at 2001, so pretty much close. So this is exactly how we will be doing this. And if I just bring the slope equation, where did it go? Right here. So let's bring this here. Alright, so as you can see, if I punch in, so let's take an example. If I take so what was it? It was total, right? So if I take total, so it is 908, and then the other is 2000. And then if I take the amount, which was $29 and some cents, so here. So if I come here and I say 1691 and then 2001, they calculate. You see what I'm saying? They're on the same line. So what we will be using is this angle right here. If the angle between these 2 points is say less than 3 degrees, then you can be pretty much confident that they are on the same line. And when I say 3 degrees, that's a threshold, because sometimes the receipt could be rotated a little bit, so I'm just compensating for that. But this works very well, so we will be pretty much using this slope equation to help us find that. Alright, so how do we do this? Well, let me close this, close that. So for that, we will come here and we will create a function. We will call the function, and we will say on same line. So given 2 points, this will determine if they are on same line. So I'll say point 1, point 2, like that. Alright, so then I will do like this: const delta x is equal to math.abs. So we'll get the difference first. So we'll say point 2.x minus point 1.x. Okay, I'll copy this, and then we need to find the delta y. Okay, so then I will do point 2.y, and I'll do point 1.y. Okay, once you get that, then we can find the slope, and we can say delta y over delta x, like that. And then finally we find the angle between them. We'll say angle is equal to math.arctan. Okay, and then you want to do slope. Now the slope that's returned from this in JavaScript is in radians, so we need to convert it to degrees. So I'll say 180, and to convert to degrees you just divide by math.pi, like that. So now this will be in degrees, like that. And finally you just return angle is less than some threshold, right? So what is that threshold? Well, we can just define it here, so we can fine-tune it. And I will say const is, let's say 3, 5, whatever you want to call it. So if we pass in 2 points, and it will just calculate the angle, and if it's less than the threshold, then we're pretty confident that they are on the same line. Alright, so with that done, so we've created our word map, and now what is required is for us to go ahead and process it. Alright, so now we're getting close. So now what we need to do is we need to prepare the lines. So what I will do is I'll create this array to hold our lines. So now after we have constructed the word map, we can start processing that. So what I can do is I can say word map dot map to map. So I'll say record, so for each record. And what you want to do is you want to come here and we can do like this. We'll say point 1, or we can just say the point, I guess, equal to record dot chords, right? And then we could say one line is equal to record dot word. So this we will make this into an array. Okay, and then what we will do is we'll say if record exists. Let's just make sure we don't have any crashes, right? And then you want to come here and map. And okay, so the way it works like this. So you see how we have, so let me go back to the top. So we have main and then street and blah blah blah. So the way I have it figured it out is like this. I'll start with this and then I find the angle of this, and then basically I compare this with the rest. So wherever the angle is less than, let's say, 5 degrees, then I know this is on same line, and then I'll basically add it to my, keep adding it to my list. And then once I approach, let's say something, well, not approach, basically I have to go through the entire array, and then I pick the next word and then the next word. So, and the other thing is, let's say I come over to main, I compare to street. So let's say they are on the same line. I need to remove this now from the list, because what will happen if you don't do that? So now you will have something like main street restaurant blah blah blah. You will have street main restaurant, restaurant street main, something like that. So if by removing it, then I eliminate that that chance that it will appear 2 or 3 times. So that's why we need to kind of go over it 2 times. I'm sure this is going to be a better way, but this works. Alright, so then what we'll do is record to compare, let's call it, and then we will just call it word. Alright, so how do we do this? Well, we will do something like if this is not null. First of all, let's make sure we don't have any nulls. Okay, so then I will take the second point. So let's say this is my first point, then I'll take the second point, the one I'm going to compare to or against. I'll say record to compare dot chords. Okay, and then what I will do is I'll say if record dot word, okay, so these are our word, does not equal to record to compare dot word. Now why am I doing that? Well, when I start, I don't want to compare this to itself, so that's why I want to make sure that we don't have any self collisions. And what I can do is I can, well, I think I got one too many. Alright, so then what I can do is here then we can use if on same line. Okay, we'll say P1 P2. Okay, if these 2 words are occurring on the same line, then I will basically do like this, one line dot push and the dot word like that. Okay, and then word map at that index we set it to null. So as I said, if I see that this one and this one on the same line, then I basically remove this one from my list because I don't want to repeat this again. So alright, so with that done, now the other thing is I think we also need to make sure that I have not already added this to the list. So I need to do like one line dot index of dot word. Okay, if it's less than 0 means it doesn't exist, so then only we're gonna go ahead and add it. Let's organize the code a bit. Alright, so with that done, then in the end we will do basically lines dot push, okay, and one line dot join, okay, with a space. So once you get all these, because I'm pushing these in an array right now, the one they're on the same line, and once I get to the end, I'm done with them, then basically it's the top array that I have the lines, then I'm going to push it into that one. So I need to say here lines, right, because that's what I want to return. Now the other thing is, once you remove these record, then they can become null. So maybe what I should do, because remember here, see, I'm making it null, so it will be nice to come here and make sure that the record exists, right, and then only we do this. I think I should do the same here, where I'm saying that if it exists, then only you do it. If you're not doing this, then you won't need this, but since we're doing this, then it's good to be safe. And also I want to make sure that I have the line does not equal to null, and then I'm going to push it. Alright, so with that all done, let's do a send. And slope is not defined. So let's see. Alright, so slope is not defined. Let's see. Yes, should be E. Alright, so let's try this again. Online is not defined. Well, online, yes, it's one line. So where's online? Here's online. Okay, let's see one more time, hopefully we get something. Oh, nice. So as you can see, we got an array, and we pretty much reconstructed this in a very nice one line. Every line pretty much we reconstructed. So I think that's pretty cool, because if you remember what we were getting from Google was, let me print the Google one so you can see detections, and then I will send it again. As you can see, this is what we're getting from Google. Okay, so I mean, this is all fine, but the problem that you're having with, if you were to find your, like for example, if I come here, and so ours pretty much match exactly with the receipt. So if I have to grab the total or the date, I can do that from here, but what Google returns is like this. I have my total here, and then the amount is somewhere down here, so it'll be very challenging to do that. Let's try another example just to show you, but before I show you, let me just show you the receipt. As you can see, it pretty much matches line by line. I have Main Street, the address, the suite, and then this, and then the subtotal, and I see the tip amount here and everything. But let's try another receipt. So I'll come here and select file. That's a Walmart receipt. Let's send it. So it got uploaded to our server, and it's gonna process it. Sometimes the thing hangs. So anyway, so as you can see now, so we're going to compare this. So again, we're having the same issue. So as you can see, if I look at my total, is $299.89. So here they're putting the price here, but then the total is somewhere up here. Very cool. So now that we have that, then we're pretty much ready, and we can jump onto the front end, and maybe actually we can use some regex to grab whatever we need. So maybe I need to grab the total and that. So let's see if we can work on that next. So if I come here, I'm gonna come here. Alright, so we're done with the processing part, and then I can move over to this one. Alright, so we need to set up a couple of regex or regex to help us with that. So I can say const total regex or regex is equal to, so anything that pretty much begins with a total, then that's gonna be our total line, and then maybe const date regex is equal to, alright, so the date usually comes in, I think they come in the US format, so you have the day, month, year. So but you can of course add other country formats I'll say like this. Okay, let me do like this. Alright, and then I'll say, actually I need to do like that. Okay, and then again plus, and then like that, and then plus, like so. So this will grab that, and then what I need to do is I'll say if data, then we just go through the data and say data.map. Okay, just go through each line. Alright, and then we'll say const match total is equal to total regex dot executed on the line, and then const will say match date is equal to date regex dot execute that on the line. Alright, so if we have match total, then what you want to do is we'll say output, we'll say total equal to line. Right, so now we need to define what the output is. So I can come here, I can say const output, it's gonna be an empty object like that. Alright, so we do that, and then I will do one for the match date, and I'll say output, okay, and now I'll say date equal to line, like so. Alright, so with that complete, then what I can do is I can say output, okay, receipt is equal to, that will be our data, so we can return the whole thing, and then we can say res dot send output. Alright, so I can get rid of this one now, and let's do else res dot send, let's just do no data found. Alright, so let's do this again. Alright, so now we should get a receipt, but we should be able to extract the stuff out of it. Alright, let's see. Did we get what we wanted? No. Okay, let's try this again. I think it was stuck. There we go. Excuse me. Alright, so here we go. So if I come here and we look at the receipt, so I got my total, which is 299.89, 299.89. I got my date out of it, which is on September 26th of 2019. That's right here at 2:46. Beautiful. Let's try the other receipt. I'm gonna say this one, open, and let's send. Ta-da, got uploaded to the server. Alright, so let's see this one. Alright, so I got my, this is my date. So this is the, for July 4th, yeah, 2017, and you got the time, and then I got my total, which is right here. So using this method, you can pretty much extract anything you want. Just you have to do the regex or regex, and you can do one for the address, because usually addresses are at the top. So now with that part done, which was I guess the hardest part, now we can move on to the front end and build the front end. Alright, so we are here. We're gonna do the front end part. So I have the package.json file open, and I'm just gonna show you what dependencies I have installed. I don't want to waste time installing them in front of you. So the first one is of course Material UI. I have done so many videos on it. You can go to the Material UI page, installation, and just copy and paste that command. So that's what I have here. And then I have also installed the Material UI icons. So in case you uninstall, just do npm install this command. I have also installed axios, and we'll be using this to do the HTTP calls. So pretty much that's all I have. My dependencies, 3 dependencies: Material UI, Material icons, and then axios. Alright, so with that out of the way, so here I am, and I don't know if I should increase the font size. I got a lot of complaints, so I already am at 20. Let me make it 22. Is that good? Alright, so I hope that's better. So what we have is we have basically a blank app. So we're gonna have a header, and then we're gonna have a list of transactions. We're gonna have a total section, and then we will have a floating action button. So we'll be building all of that. Alright, and the other thing is if I go to my app.css, I pretty much got rid of everything that comes with Material UI, and then I have set up the height to 100 viewport height, and then the background color just is dull gray, just a personal preference. So that's all I have done. And we're gonna come here and we will start here. So the first thing we should do is we should create a container. Alright, like so. So this is again, so these are pretty much Material UI stuff. And what I will do is I'll give it a max width of small, right? And then the other thing I will do is I will just give it a XX, and I will say height. Okay, and we'll do 100 VH. So pretty much take the entire height. Okay, so once I have that, then what I will do is to give it that raised effect, I will use a paper. Okay, and then we will just come here, and then what I can do is I'll give it some elevation. Of course it has to be inside of the paper. So let me close this. Alright, so I'll do elevation, and I think I'll do 3, and then what I will do is I will come here and let's put something here. Let's say test, see if we get something. There you go, so we got something. Alright, okay, so what I want to do is I want to give this paper some props, so we can use the SX like so. So I'll give it a height of 80%. Okay, so that's there. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to give it a margin top of 2, and then a background of black, and then a position of relative. The reason why I'm doing a position of relative is because I'll be this will be used for the fab, the floating action button, and also when we put the totals, so it'll be used there. Alright, so with that done, then what we can do is we can create a header. So if I'll come here and I will create, so let me minimize this, and I'll create a new file. I can just click here actually, and I'll say header.js. Alright, so I'll do function. Let me just do quickly that. Alright, so we got our header, and now we need to add stuff to this. So what we'll do is we will return a box like so, and then what I want to do is I want to do something like this. So I'm gonna have a padding top of 4, and then I want to do a padding bottom of 12. And then what else I want to do? I want to close this like so. Alright, so let's do a typography, right? It should have brought this up, but it didn't. We'll add it. Typography. Okay, so we got a typography, and what I want to do with this one is, so we will say that color is white, and then text align, not text drag, of center. Alright, and then inside of here I'll just put expense tracker OCR. Alright, so at this point we're not seeing anything because we're not using it. So let's see if we can use it. Alright, so we got a lot of issues, and let's see why. Typography was not found at the Material UI system. Alright, so why is that? Well, it's because it's in material. So we'll do material. Okay, there you go. So that came up. Alright, so what we want to do is I'm going to change the variant on this. So I will do variant. Let's make it H4. Let's see what that does. Okay, so that's nice and big, and I think we're done with the header. That's it. That's pretty simple. Alright, so now that I'm done with the header, then the next thing we want to do is we want to show that totals, so that we can display the totals. Alright, so same here, come here, same here, come here. Totals, should I call it total or total? Let's call it total. Alright, so let me quickly type this. Alright, so we've got the total, and what we want to do is we want to add, we'll be passing the amount, and then that's how the total will be showing the amount. So what we can do then is come here and show it. So this will be a card like so. I don't know why it's not bringing it up, but we will bring it. Import card from at material UI material MUI material, like so. Okay, and then what we want to do is I am going to make it a raised card. Okay, so I'll do true. Okay, and the other thing is we want to have a card content, so I'll say card content like so. So let's take this and let's bring this here. I want to save it. Okay, and what we want to do is let me just show the amount so that we can see some action. So I'll do amount. Okay, and I think same deal, I need to come here and I need to say card total amount is equal to, let's just say 1999. Alright, so what happened? We didn't close it. Alright, so we got our amount. So of course it looks very plain and ugly, and we need to beautify this. So what we can do is we can come over here first to the card and start putting some stuff on this thing. Alright, so what I can do is I can say SX, and then the first thing will be a background gradient. So I am not going to type that. I am just going to copy it from my notes, and I'll say background, and let's do this. Okay, so there you go, you got that. Now the other thing is I want the border radius to be a little bit nicer, so maybe I can do border radius, and then the number I like is 4. So there you go, it's a little bit more rounded. I think that looks nice. Alright, so then what else do we do? Okay, so the next thing is we need to play around with the card content, and first thing we need to do is we will come here and I want to do a color of white like that. So that there you go, that changes. Okay, so we're going to display the $sign, then the amount, and then the currency. So if you are doing it for a different currency, then you should just change it to that, but I'll just use the US currency. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to put everything in a box like so. Okay, and the reason why I'm putting this in a box because I need to do the alignment and justification and all. So I'll take this, put it up here. Alright, so this will all go in a typography. Okay, like so. And then I will take this and I'm gonna bring it in here. Of course I didn't bring typography, so we need to do it. So typography, there you go. Right, so there you go, that works. So let me copy this, and then so what do we do with the box? Well, the first thing we need to do is give it some breathing room. So I was padding top of 2, padding bottom of 2. So I got that. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to do a display of flex. Alright, like so. There you go, now they're side by side. And then what I want to do is, so I'm going to come here and the amount thing, what I can do is I can say $sign, and then I want to do dot to fixed, because when we do the addition it will just keep adding these numbers to it, so it's going to look very ugly. And so that's that. Of course we got error, but we'll get to it. And then over here I will do USD like that. Okay, so we got a display of flex, and then I also want to do justify. I'll do justify content, and let's do space between and align items, so they'll be nice and center. Alright, let's refresh and see. Okay, so where is the problem? Amount.fixed is not a function. Amount.toFixed is not a function. Okay, you know why? Because this is a string we pass, so maybe we should pass in a number. There you go. So that was the problem. Alright, so now of course I want this to be a little bit more prominent. So what I can do is I can come on the typography and I can do font size and let's do 2rem. So nice and big. And for this one, I think we don't want it to be too in our face, if I can say. So what I'll do is I'll just do gray. So it's kind of muted. Oop. So it's kind of muted. Okay, so that didn't work. Let me refresh because it's gray with A. Okay, and then maybe the other thing we can do is font size 0.85 rem. There you go, nice and small. So that takes care of that. So we're done with our totals thingy. So we can now go back and see. The thing is, like, it's taking all the width. So maybe what we can do is change it. I don't know, put it in a box or something. So if I come here, then what I can do is I can say box. Okay, and then I'll take this one, put it inside here. Did we bring in a box? We did not. So we should, like so. Alright, so I have the box. What should I do with the box? Well, I need to put in some SX on it. Okay, so I want to give it a width of 90%. Okay, I don't want it to span the entire thingy. And then I want it to have a, so now here's the thing, so it's 100%. Okay, I gave it a width of 90%, so that means 10% is left. So I'm going to push 5% from here. So that means you're going to have a nice center div. So if I do margin left of 5% with a comma, then there you go, that centers it. So that's what a nice trick. Okay, the other thing is we can do is I can say position, because the reason why I'm doing position absolute, I want this to go on top of the background, whatever we have. And then the other thing is we can do top of 15%, like so. Alright, so that's that. And then what we can do also is once we have the receipt, everything done, then we can pass in the amount from there once we tie this to the backend. So for now, I think this is good. We're going to leave it like that. Alright, so now the other thing we need is that fab. So maybe we should add the fab as well. So the floating action button. So I'll say fab. Okay, I hope it brought it. It never does. Okay. Alright, so I got my fab. And what I can do is I can come here and just give it some stuff. So I'll say color of primary, like so. Okay, and then the other thing is we want it to be, you know, somewhere at the bottom. Okay, so I can say position absolute, and then bottom 16, right 16. Let's see. There you go, it's right here. It'll be nice to have an icon for this. So the icon that I remember I told in the beginning, I installed Material UI icons. So if you have that installed, then what you can do, you can say document scanner icon from @MUI icons material, and then we can do document scanner. I think that's what it's called. Alright, so then I can come here and I can do document scanner. Let's see if this works. And that works. Okay, so now we need to, we're gonna tie in a file input thingy, so maybe we should do that now. So the idea is when we click on this, we want to show a file browser. So maybe what I can do is after the paper, we're going to create a file input. So how we're going to create the file input? Well, it'll be a hidden field, and it will be only visible when somebody clicks on it. So I can come here to the top and I can say const file input equal to styled. We're going to use the emotion styled function, and I'll say input, and just the function, and then we'll pass in the props. So the props is just visibility. No, visibility. Too many eyes. Okay, so we'll say hidden. Alright, so I think I need to bring in the style. So if I come here, I'll say import styled from, and we can say add material UI material styles, like so. So if that worked, no errors. Alright, so I can come here, and then at this point I can add the file input. There you go. And then we need to give it a ref, so we will create that ref. And the other thing we need is a name, so I'll say receipt. And then what we need to do, we need to specify a type, so I'll say file, and I need to enclose this like so. And we want to accept only images, so I'll just limit it to JPEG, but of course you can do whatever you want. And then we need an onChange handler. Okay, so we will say handle file change. So I need to create that. I'll come here, I'll say const handle event, and for now let's just do console.log event.target.file. I think that's where it goes in a file something, files or file object. So we're gonna spit that out. Now remember, the other thing I said is we need that reference to that file input. So let's create that. So I can say const, and we will say file input ref is equal to use ref from React, and it brought that in. So I can copy this, go to the bottom, and use it here. Okay, save it. So yep, I need to close this. Alright, so if I click here, yes, because we haven't done anything to the thing. So I can say on click is equal to, what we want to do is we want to trigger this file input thing when this button is clicked. So I can say file input ref.current.click. Okay, let's see. If I click here, oh nice, okay, so I can see the file selection dialog. So I think let's see if we can see something when I click open. Beautiful. So as you can see, we are seeing the file. There you go, that's the name of the file and everything, so we will need that. Alrighty, so that's working well. Now what's left? Well, now we need to display the transactions. Alright, so I will come here and we will create a new file, and let's call it transactions.js, and let's quickly type this. Alright, so we're gonna pass in transactions, and we're gonna let this thing map over it and give us the list. Alright, so what we need is a transaction list. So I'll say transaction list, and this will be a transactions, we minimize this, dot map. So we're gonna say for each transaction, and just give us the index 2. And then what we want to do is we want to just put this in a box, and we can just give it a key so that we don't have React complaining to us. So I can do list item, and then inside of it I will have a list item text. like so. So the primary will be the t dot amount, that's the amount of the transaction, and the secondary will be the t dot date, which is transaction date. Alright, so of course we need to bring these from somewhere. So I'll say import, and this will be list item, and then the other thing is list item text, and they come from at MUI material. Yeah, I think we will also need list, so let me just bring it also. Alright, so here we are. So what do we do? Well, we're gonna come here and we'll put this in a box, okay, and then I will give it some props. The only prop I'm gonna do is just give it a height of 100%, and let me close this and let me bring in the box here like so. Alright, and let me close this. So I think at this point I can come here and I can display, so I have my total, and then after the total I can do transactions. Okay, and then transactions, for now I'll just give it an empty array. Okay, so there you go. So if I go back to transactions, let me close total, we don't need it. Alright, so we're gonna come here and we only want to display the transactions if we actually have something. So the way we're gonna do this is I can say transactions dot length is greater than 0, then we display something, and if not, then we display nothing actually. So what I can do is I can close this off like that, and then I need this one, and then I can come here and I can say typography and typography. Alright, so it's complaining here because we need to just close this off properly. So I can use a card, and I need to bring this in here. Okay, and I can say then close this off here, and then what I can do is give it some props. So I can say SX. So let's give it a pairing top of 6, and then I'm going to give it a border top left righties, and then I can say around 8%. Okay, and then border top, I want to do a right radius, and then I'm gonna stick that at 8%. That's gonna just give you that nice rounded borders. So I need to come here and typography, actually typography, there you go. And I'm gonna bring this in here so that everyone is happy. And then the other thing is I want to do card content. Alright, and then within that we're gonna have a list, and finally we're gonna have our transaction list like so. So card content did not come, so I need to bring that like that, and let's see, let's refresh just to make sure. Cool, no errors. So what do we want to display here? I can come here and then I can say maybe something like scan receipt, RECEIPT. Okay, and then I need to maybe, I think the text is there, but probably, yeah, there you go, it's there. So we need to just fix it a little bit. So I can do margin top of 8, and then we can do color of FFF, and then I can do text align center. Actually this should be equal sign. No, actually it don't have to be. Actually I can do something like this. So color, there you go, white, and then I can do text align center, there you go, and maybe we'll just give it a variant of H3. There you go. So If we don't have any data, then we just display this, otherwise we're gonna display the data. So maybe we should also hide the totals because it doesn't make any sense. So the way we're gonna do this is, what do we do this? I think I can do it here. So I can say, if I can do something like transactions. Well, actually I don't have transactions, so I need to create that. Okay, so I can come here to the top and I can do const transactions, and then I can say set transactions. So this will be a state like so. Okay, and then what I can do here is supply that here, transactions. Save it, and of course use state was not brought in, so we can use do like that. Okay, so then at this point I can come here and I can leave the header as is, but we need to do it here. So if transactions dot length, there we go, is greater than 0, okay, and then we want to basically take, let's see, so if I think I can take all of this, and maybe not, I think just the totals maybe. So I can take this and do like this. Let's see, there you go. Actually I could take, I didn't have to do that. I could have done this in here because the transactions should be only displaying transactions, so it should not be displaying this. So maybe what we need to do is I can come here and do like this. So of course this is gonna cry. Okay, so I need to do like this. If I come here and then I can use the fragment, take all of this, bring this all in. If we don't have, so if we have transaction, then display it. If not, then we can take all of this. Let me X that out of here, and then I'm gonna bring it here. And then I actually don't need this, I don't need that. Let me see. Okay, so that works. And then how about here? If I save it, whoa, okay, Control A, K, F. Okay, so just need to bring in typography. So right here, typography. There you go. You got the same kind of result, but the thing is that it was wrong to put that text here. So that's how I want to fix. Okay, so now that we have the UI kind of set up, now it's time to create a service so that we can start bringing in the data. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to come here, create a new file, and then I will call it what do you call it, receipt service .js, and let me copy this. Alright, so what we can do is we can say const, okay, I am sure I can spell this, process receipt, and then it's going to get some data, and then it's going to return something. So first of all, we need to do export const process receipt so that we can be consumed by the clients. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, we can say const client is equal to, let me minimize this, we can say axios dot create. Now what's axios? Well, we installed it. We can say axios from axios, so then I can come here and say create, there we go, and we are gonna pass it a base URL, and this will be http localhost Now if you were to do this in a production app, then you're gonna have this in an environment variable. So you're gonna have one for dev, one for prod, maybe one for UAT, something like that. So then what we can do, we can return the client. Okay, and you're gonna give it a method of post. Okay, and we need to give it the endpoint. So the endpoint is the receipt. That's the one we created. And finally, data is data. All right, and so we're gonna do a dot. Then, so we have a response. So we can say a response.data. Or if there's an error, catch. So let's for now just console the log the error like so. I need to fix this. Alright, so we're going to return a promise so that I can just come here and start using it. So if I come here and I do const file is equal to, so let's grab that file from here and we can use it. Okay, so I can do then is also make a form data, new form data. Actually, I need to fix this. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to say form data dot append receipt. So remember we said that we were using multer, and multer is going to be looking for this receipt keyword. So that's how it's going to work. So we're going to pass in the file, and then I can say receipt service dot process receipt, and it's going to take this form data. All right, and then it's going to, since it's a promise, so we can do then it, and then we can say response. All right, and what we can do is we can say const data date. So we're going to take the date from it, sorry, new date. So the response.date, if you remember, the date was coming inside the date object. Okay, so we're going to be using the international JavaScript whatever API for processing dates. So if I come here, if I let me show you Intl JavaScript. So if you this is very powerful. If you use this, then you don't need to use any moment.js or any of that. This pretty much can do all of that for you, and you can do this on the Node.js side and also on the browser. So I highly encourage you to check this out. It's very powerful. Okay, so we're going to take the date. So remember, our date is coming in the US format with the slashes, so we want to display this in a nice format. So we can do const nice date is equal to new intl dot, and we can say date time format. Okay, let's just use ANUS, and then the date style, we're going to set that to full because we want to display a nice full day with a month and everything. So that's that. And then you're going to come here, you're going to say format, and where's the date? Well, that's where you supply the date. Cool. Alright, so now I can come here and I can say set transactions. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Well, we take the existing transactions, okay, we spread it, and then we're gonna add our new data to it. So I can say amount is the response dot total, and then the date will be the nice date, like that. Okay, so nope, not here, we need to supply that here. Okay, so hopefully this works. Receipt service does not match the corresponding name on disk. Let's see, so this should be receipt service. Alright, so that's that. And then I think if we have done everything correctly, then I think we should have something. Now what other thing I'll do is, if we are processing this, I want to show some sort of an indicator. So I'll say processing, set processing, use state. So initially we're not doing any processing. Okay, like that. And then what I want to do is if I come here right before I make my API call, I'll do set processing to true, and then once I have some response, and I'll make this false. And you know what will be nice? If we can just console log this response like so. And then I think maybe it'll be also nice if we have an error catch error, then we console log it. Now error, and also I want to do set processing to false. Alright, and then while we are processing this, so maybe at this point I probably let me see, want to hide everything. So what I can do is right here, what I can say is, not the header. Here I can do processing. If processing is true, then we want to display one thing, otherwise we want to display something else. Let's just leave it for now. Okay, so if processing is true, then I want to do a typography variant of, let's say, H4. Color is white, text align. I should probably make a prop out of this so I can just use it, but oh well. Processing like that. Alright, and then if not, then I basically take everything up to my header. So I'm gonna take everything, and I think we can stick it here, and the way we're gonna do this is like this. Let's see. Yep, that seemed to have worked. So just to test this, assuming I'm processing, let me make this true. Let's see. Okay, so that works. Alright, so I guess it's time to check this out. So let's make sure no errors, no. So let's start scanning. So I'm gonna upload this receipt, and we're gonna say processing, and very nice. So we got our thing. Okay, for some reason the date did not come. So date is equal to nice date. So if I go to transactions, I misspelled the keyword secondary. So, and the way I found it is I actually went in, did a right click, inspect, and I found that it was showing up here, but it was just not showing in the UI. So that's how I did it. Okay, so now let's try, well, before we try that, as you can see, the total is not getting updated. So I think we need to fix that, and I think the way where it's coming from is if we come here to total right here. Okay, so it's hard coded. I think we need to fix it, and the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna use a reducer. So if I come here, and we can say transactions dot reduce. Alright, so for reducer we need to give it a callback function, so we can say the previous value and the current value, and then we can say, I think I need to bring this on a separate line. So then what I can do, I can say take the previous value, add it to the current value amount, and then you want to give it an initial value, so initial value will be 0. In case you didn't know, the plus sign, so we use it to take a string. Okay, if it's a string, the plus sign will turn it into a number. So just a quick tip. Alright, so let's save it, and there you go. So we got that amount, and let's try another one. So let's try the pharmacy one, processing. Beautiful. So 9 plus 2 is 11, 8, and then 3 plus 3 is 6. Let's try one more, and very nice. So there you go. Now the other thing I did was, if we go to the backend, and sorry, if I go to the backend, so right here So inside the regular expression where I'm getting the total, so I see that the most receipts, let me open a receipt, I'll show you. So okay, so if we look here, as you can see, the receipt is like total followed by space or dollar sign. Sometimes they will have, let's see, look at another one. Sometimes they're going to have like a USD dollar sign. So this regular expression basically gets rid of all of that, and then we only get the amount and then the change part of it. So that's what it does. So we're saying anything that begins with the word total followed by space followed by the dollar sign, any characters. So and then with these brackets, then we just create a group out of it so that I can use that group right here. And I explained this one already. So there you go. You have now a very nice expense tracker app with Vision API, Google Cloud Vision API, and I hope you guys liked and enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. I have more content coming. For 1,000 subscribers, I think I'm thinking of creating a web, backend, front end, mobile, all in one course. So, but that depends on the, I guess, interest. So that will be it for now. Bye.